Hey guys, it's Lilly Elaine. You're watching Lilly Elaine Reads. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. Yes, I'm on the floor. Yes, this is my bed. Yes, this is a wall. I am still trying to figure out lighting. As you can tell, all my videos, I'm in a different spot around my room. It just depends on when I film, like, what the sun is like, and my lighting situation in my room is really weird. So if you have any tips or tricks, or like make YouTube videos and like know what to do in this situation, please comment down below. I want to figure out like a proper setting and stuff, and me being on the floor between my bed and a wall isn't exactly what I was going for, but we're gonna roll with it because the lighting's the best here at 3:30 in the afternoon. Today I'm coming to you with a January wrap-up, and I am super duper excited about this video, especially because my first video on this channel was my January to be read, and it's just like crazy to think like setting my mind on a goal of like reading a lot more this year has like pushed me to read so much this month, and I'm so excited to share with you what I read because I think a lot of the books I read were really interesting, and I think a lot of you guys would enjoy them. So let's get started. Okay, so 2 of the 5 books I read this month are not with me. One of them was a library book, and I sent it back to the library because that's what you do when you finish a library book, and the other one was a school book, and we had just finished it. So I had to hand that back in if I wanted to take my midterm exam. So unfortunately, I don't have those with me. The first book actually is the library book. I read The Sisters of Versailles by Christie. Hopefully future Lilly can get like an image, get some sort of picture of the book up here with my editing skills. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but if I do, it'll be cool. So basically, I picked this book up because, as I told you in my To Be Read, I've been watching the show Reign, which is all about French court, and I thought it'd be really interesting. It's about these 4 sisters and their relationship to King Louis, and I went into this book with really high hopes. In fact, I was actually going to buy it at Barnes & Noble, but I only had enough money to get 1 book on my gift card, so my mom just said that we could go get it at the library, so we did, and I'm kind of glad I didn't buy it because it turned out I didn't really like it that much as I thought I would. So basically, it started out and I really enjoyed it. I liked how Christie like used like letter formats. You could see the conversations the girls were having. It was a really nice narrative. And I was really like enthused with like what the plot line was, and I was really like excited to further my reading. That sounds like so academic. So basically, I got to like the 3rd sister's perspective, and I was just like so over it. It was just really dull. Everything that happened to the 1st and 2nd sister was happening to the 3rd sister, and it just got really repetitive and redundant. So like I really struggled to get through it, which like was unfortunate. And the weird thing is apparently it's part of a trilogy, so I'm not really sure. Like the 2nd and 3rd books are being released later this year. In fact, I think the 2nd one's being released either this next month, February or March. But I'm not really sure where they can make a trilogy out of it, but I don't know. I think Christie was an amazing writer. I loved what she did with it. But, and I totally understand. These were actually 4 sisters, and, I totally get that she didn't have much creative liberty with it. She had to kind of follow a historical plot line, but at the same time, it really, wasn't that, it didn't grab me that much, halfway through. So if I was to give it out of a 5-star rating, I'd probably give it, a 3, 3.5. I definitely think you have to have some sort of interest in French culture already to really, get your feet in the water and, kind of enjoy it. I don't know. But I'm thinking about reading the 2nd one, just kind of seeing what Christie does, where this is supposed to be going. I'm not really sure. So I think it could be pretty interesting to pick up. Next book I read was Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. And this book was given to me, as I said before, by a friend to read over the summer, and I never got to pick it up, but I'm really glad I got to pick it up this month because it was an amazing read. So basically this is about a girl named Samantha Kingston, and she dies in a car accident, and she's allowed to live over her last day in school 7 more times. And it's very interesting because the first few times she's not really sure what she's supposed to be doing, but by the last few times you really understand what her true meaning is, why she's being given this opportunity to go back to this day over and over again. And it's also really interesting because it gives you some insight into how much your actions and your words affect other people's lives and their days, and how you can't really judge someone on the way they're acting one day because they could have so much stuff going on that you don't even know. You don't know anyone's story necessarily, and I just found it really interesting. I definitely found myself taking some lessons from this story, and I really related to Sam Kingston because of course she's going through high school and she's facing all of these like different struggles and like these problems, and I just thought it was like really relatable in that sense, and it was an amazing read. I like flew through it considering it was like what, 400 pages, 450 pages. I absolutely adored this, and it was a great friend to me when I was sick, because I was sick for like 3 days, like in bed, like literally dying of the cold. Yeah, so it was really nice to read, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're interested in like picking up a YA novel, I highly recommend this one. I would give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Vanishing Acts by Jodi Picoult, and as I mentioned previously, I'm a huge Jodi Picoult fan, so I was really pumped to read this just because I've had it on my bookshelf for like ever, and I never got to read it. And I loved it. This is about Delia Hopkins. She lives in New Hampshire, and she's engaged to this man named Eric. She has a daughter, Sophie. She lives with her father, and she's a best friend named Fitz. And basically one day they're hanging out at her house, and the police show up and arrest her father for kidnapping. So basically he is convicted for kidnapping his own daughter, which is weird. I understand, because like, would that be kidnapping? But yeah, apparently it is. So basically they have to go to the state of Arizona. Her fiance is a lawyer, so Eric is going to defend her father. And it's really interesting because while she's going through this like emotional journey of like, OMG, I was like this totally other person before my dad took me away and brought me to New Hampshire, she's also going through this like very like introspective, like, why did my dad feel the need to take me away, like what is going on, like, and she definitely doubts her past and her present, like the way she's been living her life. I really do think there's like some true messages about family and like identity in here, and I really like found myself captivated by the character of Delia and this whole like journey she goes through to really like identify who she is as a person, like no matter where she grew up or like what has happened in her past. I highly recommend this. It's a great adult fiction novel, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading some more Jodi Picoult books. I would definitely give this probably a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read, I don't have with me because it's a school book, so it is Othello by William Shakespeare, and I read it in my AP Literature class. I'm not a huge fan of Shakespeare. I think it's simply because it's always been forced on me in school, and therefore, like, you don't really like what you read in school just because you're told you have to read it. But, I mean, I thought it was okay. Like, I hated Macbeth. Like, we read Macbeth in 10th grade, and I, like, abhorred it. Like, I thought it was, like, awful. I wanted it to end it so badly, like, oh my gosh, get it over. But Othello wasn't like that. It wasn't painful. It just, like, I wasn't really engrossed in the play as a whole. So basically, it is about this man named Othello, and he has a wife named Desdemona, who's the prettiest woman in the land. And basically there's this guy named Iago, and Iago wasn't given a position in the government to work with Othello like he wanted, and it was given to this other man named Cassio. So basically Iago decides, I'm gonna screw with, like everyone. Okay, sorry about that. My memory card ran out of space. Weird. I know, I have all these technical issues. That's why, oh, by the way, that's why I couldn't get a video up to you this past week, just because technical issues. I apologize. So anyways, back to Othello. So I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you are interested in William Shakespeare, definitely I'd boost it up, because I think the storyline like is very complex, and I think people would enjoy it if they were just really into Shakespeare. Yeah. So the final book I read actually wasn't on my TBR. It was actually featured in my January book haul, so if you want to see that, I'll link that down below. But I ended up having a lot more time at the end of the month to read. I had like another week, and with midterms and stuff, like after that was over, I had like a couple of extra hours to squeeze in to read another book. So I picked up These Few Precious Days by Christopher Andersen, and this basically recounts the relationship of Jackie O and John F. Kennedy. I don't know why I stuttered on his name. I absolutely adored this. I knew I would, just because I'm very interested in the Kennedys' history. I don't know why specifically, but there's definitely something that's always drawn me to them, their legacy, and how they lived their lives. I think they're very pivotal political figures in our modern era, so I think it's like very interesting to read about them, especially because their presidency, like their time in the White House, was cut so short because JFK was assassinated. So therefore it's just like very interesting to see like what they did in such a short amount of time. This book is like not that long. It was probably one of the shorter ones. It was about low 300 pages long, and they also included pictures in it. So pictures like that. And I think it's just like very interesting, and you definitely get like a more personal look into their lives. There's a lot of people that Andersen's able to get to talk about them that like worked really closely with them, like best friends, mistresses and men and other people in their lives. So I thought that was really interesting. And it definitely gave you like a better sense of who they were as people, and it tells you a lot more than the history books usually would. So I definitely enjoyed this. I think a lot of people, I think this definitely like brings me into the idea of maybe picking up some more biographies, just because I like this style of writing. Although I don't really like super thick and like wordy ones. This one was definitely more of like a you pick this up and you read this like you would like Vanishing Acts, for example. So I definitely recommend this for anyone who just wants to get to know a little bit more about the Kennedys. They're very interesting people. Like, for example, did you know, fun Kennedy fact here, that they were given their death rights 6 times while being married? Like, that's how close they came to death, was that like a pastor had to show up and like say their goodbyes. Like, it was intense. These people definitely got through a lot, and they went through a lot of emotional struggle, and it's just very inspiring, I suppose, to see these powerful people like in the face of terror and heartbreak and loss to like still put on a good face and like show to the public that America's strong, that they're strong, and all this stuff. I just found it like super interesting. So those were the books I read the month of January. I'm definitely excited to continue this channel. I'm so glad I started it. It was probably one of the best decisions I've made so far this year, besides deciding to start going to the gym. Woo! My February to be read should be up later this week. I'm hoping like Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'm thinking my schedule is from then on going to be opposite Sundays, Wednesdays. So like if I post on a Sunday, it'll be the next Wednesday. If I post on that Wednesday, it'll be Sunday. It'll make more sense once I continue to upload, but I think that's the schedule that's really going to work for me. If you guys do have any requests for videos, I do have a few ideas. Please leave them down below, just because I'm always interested to hear what you guys want to see. I want to make like the best content I can. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this, and for anyone who has subscribed or commented or liked or like talked to me about these videos in any way. Like, I really do appreciate your support and your feedback. I'm so excited to just like continue this channel and like do something I've like discovered that I love. And I hope you guys all have a fantastic day. Keep reading. I'm out.